everyone. In hot topic number 4, we're going to talk about a growing issue in scientific communication, one that editors stressed, faculty exhausted, and reviewers quietly screaming into their keyboards. Welcome to AI Writes Fast and Thinks Poorly, the 2026 crisis in scientific writing. But yes, AI can generate 300 words in 4 seconds, and roughly 3 of those words will be helpful. In early 2026, writing faculty across the U.S. made headlines after formally pushing back against the idea that generative AI should be integrated into writing instruction by default. The Conference on College Composition and Communication passed a resolution reaffirming the right of teachers and students to refuse generative AI tools in the classroom. Why? Because the rush to use AI was eroding writing quality, clarity, and most importantly, the thinking process. Let me translate that into plain terms. People were skipping the pre-writing and revision stages and submitting AI-generated mush. Sure, it sounded like writing, but is it logic? The structure? The flow? Let's just say it. It looked like a paragraph, but it didn't behave like one. One of the key concerns emerging in 2026 is that people are outsourcing not just sentence-level writing, but the cognitive work of writing, including outlining, organizing ideas, evaluating evidence, revising, and refining arguments. Writing educators argue that these steps are where critical thinking actually happens. AI may draft a sentence, but it cannot identify logical gaps, evaluate research quality, build coherent arguments, revise for clarity or accuracy, ensure scientific precision, or maintain methodological transparency. This report states that humans learn to write in an order to navigate uncertainty, make sense of phenomena, build community, and participate in civic life, not just to produce text quickly. And honestly, AI isn't doing any of those very good. Meanwhile, another report in 2026 on scientific writing emphasized that clarity and precision are foundational to valid, reproducible, trustworthy science. And unclear AI-generated text undermines all of that. Editors are now reporting a wave of manuscripts that sound polished on the surface but collapse under scrutiny. Because the paragraphs lack logical flow, the sentences contain vague generalizations, and the structure doesn't actually match scientific conventions. In other words, AI can generate sentences, but it cannot generate scientific reasoning, and journals are starting to notice. Some reviewers have even noted patterns where AI-generated manuscripts present perfectly formatted paragraphs, mimicking IMRAD structure, but the actual content makes no sense scientifically. The structure is there, but the thinking is not. The scientific writing clarity crisis isn't staying within academia. As we talked about it in Hot Topic 3, it's actually spilling over into the media. Journalists have repeatedly reported that poorly structured scientific writing makes it harder to accurately report research findings. When manuscripts bury the lead or jumble ideas, headlines become oversimplified, misleading, or sensationalized. If science doesn't craft clear paragraphs, the press fills in the gaps, and often not very well. So why does this matter to you? Well, it's true. AI can definitely speed up writing, but it can't speed up thinking. And clear scientific communication requires strong sentence structure, intentional punctuation, well-organized paragraphs, logical transitions, evidence-supported arguments, and multiple rounds of revision. These skills don't happen by accident. They happen through a writing process, the same process AI encourages many writers to shortcut. This module exists because the cleanest, strongest scientific writing comes from people who intentionally plan, outline, revise, 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 and revise again. Good writing takes time, and quite frankly, revisions are where the magic happens. So as you move through the coursework this week, remember that AI can give you a first thought, but it cannot give you your best thought. It can can generate text, but it cannot generate insight. It can predict the next word, but it cannot understand your ideas. So take your time, plan your paragraphs, revise your writing, and think before you type. Because in 2026, the real crisis isn't that AI writes too much. It's that too many people are letting it write instead of think. Let's not be those people.